Welcome to Wannabe Clutter Free, formerly Wannabe Minimalist, the podcast for busy families who are tired of the chaos, fed up with being overwhelmed, and ready to enjoy life again. Each week, we talk about how to let go of the clutter so that you can focus on the things that actually matter. And it's not just physical clutter, we talk about the mental and emotional stuff too, because if it's holding you back, it's time to ditch it. I share what I've done in my own life to declutter, organize, and calm the chaos, but you won't just hear it from me. There are amazing guests too. It's practical, doable, and simple for those of us that want to be clutter-free. As a parent, I know firsthand the challenges that come with teaching kids to read, write, and spell, especially for those with learning differences. But what if I told you there's a tool that's changing the game? It's called Mighty Doodle. Mighty Doodle is more than just an app. It's a virtual tutor designed to make literacy education engaging and accessible for children from 1st to 4th grades. Developed by an educator with over 30 years of experience, this app combines proven teaching methods with cutting-edge AI and interactive games, making learning an adventure. It's tailored to adapt to each child's unique needs and learning style, which is crucial for building confidence and literacy skills. I love the handwriting recognition, voice feedback, and gamified lessons that make daily practice a thrill. And it's so much easier than the sticker chart that we used when our daughter was little. And it's so rewarding to watch their progress and see their pride in their achievements. So why wait? Download Mighty Doodle on the Apple App Store today and start your free 7-day trial. Subscriptions are available for $14.95 a month or $149 per year. And every annual subscription purchase helps support their mission of literacy equity. This program is designed exclusively for iPads. Don't wait. Give your child the tools they need to succeed by subscribing to Mighty Doodle today. Visit mighttydoodle.com for more information or download the app directly from the Apple App Store. Well, hey there, my friend, and Happy New Year. Welcome back to the show. My name is Deanna Yates, and you are listening to episode 238 of the Wannabe Clutter Free podcast. Today's episode is a timely one as it is releasing on New Year's Day, the perfect time to set the tone for how we want to show up in the year ahead. This year, I'm BYOEing. I'm bringing my own energy, and that means I'm working on showing up in my life with confidence and authenticity. And I believe what we wear plays a huge role in how confident and empowered we feel. And that's why I'm so excited to kick off 2025 with today's guest, Heather Riggs. Heather is a 17-year certified image consultant and color specialist, as well as the founder of Her Style LLC and host of the Her Style podcast. She helps ambitious women like us buy less, shop smarter, and build wardrobes we love so we can get dressed with confidence every day. And a little spoiler, Heather is also one of the speakers in the upcoming Chaos to Calm Summit, and it starts on January 13th. So if you haven't grabbed your ticket for that yet, it's free. What are you waiting for? Go to chaostocalmsummit.com or click on the link in the show notes. And in this episode, Heather is going to share her expertise on building capsule wardrobes, shopping intentionally, and how to refresh your style for the new year in a way that feels authentically and uniquely you. And she also dives into practical tips for doing a closet audit, always a fantastic way to start the new year, and incorporating more color into your wardrobe without feeling overwhelmed. I need help with this. And she also talks about a free boot camp that she has starting on Monday, January 6th. So be sure to listen for more details or check out the show notes for the link. I will be there. As I just said, I need help for this. I am all for getting the help you need when you need it, and I cannot wait. So I hope I see you there too. But before we jump into this fantastic conversation, I want to say thank you for spending time with me today. If you enjoy this episode, please take a moment to click that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of the amazing conversations I have planned for the coming year. And thank you, as always, for being part of this community. If there is something you want me to cover, or you have a question about decluttering, organizing, or living a better life with less, well, connect with me on Instagram at Wannabe Clutter Free, or join our private Facebook community, the Wannabe Minimalist Family Group over there. All right, let's dive into this exciting conversation and start the new year with confidence and style. Well, hi, Heather. How you doing today?
Hi, friend. I'm doing amazingly. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Oh, I'm excited to have you. We met on the second summit I ever ran, our Capsule Wardrobe Summit, and we're going to talk about wardrobes and helping women kind of look in their closets today. But can you tell us a little bit about you and your journey as a certified image consultant and color specialist, and what inspired you to pursue this career path?
Absolutely. Well, ever since I was a little girl, I have always loved fashion. I haven't always been the most inherently stylish person, but I loved playing with paper dolls and fashion plates. I don't know if you remember those. I'm an 80s child, so
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
dating myself a little bit, but I just loved playing with Barbies and like all the things. And I originally thought I would take the career path of becoming a costume designer. But in college, I realized very quickly that you have to know how to sew to be a designer. So I quickly changed paths and went more of the design and merchandising route. And my mom actually was the one who introduced the idea of image consulting to me. She was reading an article about an image consultant and she immediately called me and was like, Heather, this sounds right up your alley. And she was right. Mom knows best. And so I did a lot of personal shopping in the early days of my career and then started my business to work with women privately, helping them build wardrobes they love. And it lights me up to help women feel more confident in their own skin and in their personal style and to feel a sense of calm and ease when they look into their wardrobes and they know they have the right outfits for every occasion rather than just seeing a closet full of clothes and nothing to wear.
I love that so much. I love what you talked about there being the confidence piece, right? And I think that really hits the nail on all of what I, think about when it comes to, decluttering and surrounding ourselves with the things that, light us up, that make us happy, that make us confident in our home. It's not about having no things. It's not about having nothing. It is about having the right things surrounding you. So I love what you said there and about being the confidence and helping women like really feel the best in their skin. And so you have a podcast yourself. It's called the Her Style Podcast, and it's become a top 10 fashion and beauty podcast. Congratulations on that. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. What do you think resonates most with your audience?
I think it's probably refreshing that my perspective is about buying less and
Mm,
shopping smarter because
yeah.
that seems rare in this day and age, especially when you're
Yeah.
spending time on social media and everyone's telling you you have to buy this latest trend or look at
Oh,
this
right.
haul that I had from this store and you need all of these beautiful things. And we think that we need more to feel happier and to have options when we're getting dressed. But that often leads us down the path of having too many things and it becoming even more complicated to get dressed
Mhm.
quickly and easily in the morning. So I'm all about really streamlining that, simplifying things, and being intentional about what you buy and bring into your wardrobe. So I feel like that's maybe just a message that's not out there enough in the world. And it's something different for women that, like your audience who really want to just streamline and simplify everything.
Yeah, make it simple. It does not have to be so complicated. And we can just have, the things that we love and surround ourselves with those. And then we don't have to worry about the trends and we don't have to worry about what other people are doing because we like what's going on in our world. Yeah. So
Exactly. When you
true.
know what you love and what lights you up, then you can filter through all of that noise and just hone in on the things that you truly need to fill in the gaps of your wardrobe and that are going to make it, so much more fun to get dressed every day. That's what it's all
Yeah.
about.
Oh, so good. All right. Well, this is coming out right at the beginning of 2025. So we are starting a new year. And I love this time of year because for me, I know that we can start fresh anytime. I've done that multiple times in my life. It does not have to be the new year, but there is something special about January 1st. There is something special about saying, like, okay, I just turned over. We were talking about this before we started. I get a planner every year and I set it up the last week of December. And there is something about turning that planner page over to January 1st, and I think one of the big things people think about are their homes and they want to declutter. They also want to lose weight. And then they also want to feel good as they go out into the world. And that's what you can help us with. And we're going to talk about, you talked about buying less and shopping smarter. And so if we're in this frame of mind of like, okay, new year, how do we do that? What are some practical tips for us to know how to shop more intentionally?
Well, it's so funny that you brought up your physical paper planner because my number one tip is to plan for your wardrobe and not just shop impulsively, right? And so often it's like, oh, I need something to wear. I'm just going to run to the mall or I'm just going to go online and see what I can find on sale. But instead of doing that, I highly encourage you to take a step back and pause. Make shopping your last thing. Before you do that, take an inventory of what's in your wardrobe, what's currently working for you. Try to pinpoint where some of the gaps are. What are some of those pieces that would really move the needle for you in making your outfits come together a lot easier? So maybe you need to focus on some accessories this year, or maybe you need to up-level your shoes a little bit. Whatever pockets of your wardrobe need to be filled in, make a shopping list. It's just like going to the grocery store. When you go out without a list, you come home with a lot of food that you didn't actually need and nothing to make dinners for the week. So you've got to plan your wardrobe. I hate to, you know, dumb it down in that way, but you really want to think about your wardrobe like shopping for a clear list and checking things off. It also makes it so much easier to align your budget with what you actually need and make sure that you're coming home with pieces that are going to help put outfits together so much easier for you. So instead of just thinking about visually what you like and what looks pretty or exciting or fun, think about what activities you have on your calendar. While you're planning out your next month or quarter, look at what events you have coming up. Do you have outfits that you can wear for those events? If not, what do you need to buy in order to feel your best when that day comes? Or maybe you could consider just renting some pieces if it's a special occasion event and you're not going to wear those items again and again. So again, just stopping to do some planning, look at what you have and what you need and what activities are coming up so that you can know that you have the right outfits in place and ready to go.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. That has been a big growth area for me, especially my closet. It's so funny because like for me, for my home, it's much easier, right? The things in my home, it's much easier for me to do that, to plan, to look. We were talking about my background at the moment and over well, actually, so when this has come out, we filmed this earlier, but I'm working on planning this area out behind me. I didn't go out and buy a bunch of new stuff for the wall. I have a plan. I'm putting together a mood board. I'm putting together things in my home. And it was definitely not dumbing it down on the grocery list. That made perfect sense. And sometimes you just need to hear something in a completely different way for it to finally click. Because how many times have you gone to the store if you go without a list, right? It's a learning moment, right? You go, you buy all this stuff, you spend $200 at the grocery store, you come home and you go, what was I going to make for dinner? I'm exhausted now. I'm just going to buy something. Like I'm going to buy takeout, right? I don't even want to now go through the work to make dinner. And I feel like that was my closet a couple years ago of just like, I would buy knee jerk when an event was coming up, right? I'd have something coming up. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I hate everything in my closet. I haven't bought anything for this kind of event in 3 years. Everything feels dated. I'd go buy something and then it wouldn't necessarily click or fit with everything. Or because I was so last minute, I would just get something that would suffice. It wouldn't be something I loved. It would just be like, it'll work. And then I never wanted to go back to it. I didn't feel great in it. And then that's the worst when you go to the event and you don't even feel great in what you're wearing, or you don't feel like it's quite appropriate because you didn't have enough planning time. So bravo. I love it. I know that doesn't seem like a very fun or sexy step, but it
I
definitely
know
makes
that's
such a big difference. It really does.
yeah.
It really, really does. And it will
Yeah.
make you feel much sexier at the end, I promise.
Exactly. And maybe it's not, dumbing it down wasn't the right expression, but yeah, when you think about fashion, it's like you want to just go out and shop and buy the pretty things, but you really do need to have a little bit more strategy in order to feel your best. And for me, when I go to the grocery store, what usually happens is I'll come home and I'll go to make that recipe and I'm like, "Oh, I don't have this spice that is essential for this ingredient or something." And it's like sometimes we just forget the little things. If you're going to an event and you're like, oh no, I actually need some pantyhose to go with this dress, or I need something even little, and it can create so much unnecessary stress. So it is helpful if you can just map out even just the next month or the next quarter of events that you have coming up. And don't forget the day-to-day activities that you have to get ready for all the time. Sometimes just thinking about the little things can help save you so much time and energy when you're shopping and getting ready in the morning.
Love it. Okay, so another area people I think look at, we talked about like the big things people want to do at New Year's, and one of them is decluttering. And our closets are one of the most emotionally, charging locations, I think, in our homes. So you talk about doing a closet audit. What is that, first off? Let's start with a closet audit, and then we can go into the tips on how we can make that feel less daunting when we're decluttering our closets.
It's really just a fancy way of saying decluttering or cleaning out your closet. It's taking that inventory of what you have, what's currently working for you, what pieces you're ready to replace or up level, and then what things you're missing altogether. So it's just having some time to pour over what you have. I think there's some different approaches that you can take, and you have to find the right method for you and what's going to work for your real life. So, for some people, that might look like spending a whole afternoon going through everything. For others, it might be carving out 15 minutes a day to go through one small section at a time if you need to make it a little bit more bite sized and manageable.
Okay, so yeah, let's talk about how often should we do a closet clean out? I mean, I know we're doing one probably now because it's the new year and everybody gets this nice energy. As a parent, I know firsthand the challenges that come with teaching kids to read, write, and spell, especially for those with learning differences. But what if I told you there's a tool that's changing the game? It's called Mighty Doodle. Mighty Doodle is more than just an app, it's a virtual tutor designed to make literacy education engaging and accessible for children from first to fourth grades. Developed by an educator with over 30 years of experience, this app combines proven teaching methods with cutting edge AI and interactive games, making learning an adventure. It's tailored to adapt to each child's unique needs and learning style, which is crucial for building confidence and literacy skills. I love the handwriting recognition, voice feedback, and gamified lessons that make daily practice a thrill. And it's so much easier than the sticker chart that we used when our daughter was little. And it's so rewarding to watch their progress and see their pride in their achievements. So why wait? Download Mighty Doodle on the Apple App Store today and start your free 7-day trial. Subscriptions are available for $14.95 a month or $149 per year, and every annual subscription purchase helps support their mission of literacy equity. This program is designed exclusively for iPads. Don't wait. Give your child the tools they need to succeed by subscribing to Mighty Doodle today. Visit MIGHTYDOODLE.com for more information or download the app directly from the Apple App Store. So let's go with it, right? Harness this energy. If you are having this moment where you're like, oh, that sounds like a great idea, just do it. Don't overthink it. Just dive right in. And like you just said, you can do a 15-minute chunk if you start to get into it and you're like, that's too much. Maybe you can give us some parameters on how often we should do this and maybe a few tips.
Well, one thing to keep in mind is the first time you tackle this project is going to be the hardest because you maybe haven't done this before, or maybe it's been a long time. So you are going to want to go through all of the pieces in your current wardrobe. Now, I think in terms of how often you do it, I do recommend typically to do it every season or quarterly, just so that you can stay on top of it and it doesn't become this big daunting project ever again. So you do the hard work once and then it becomes more of a maintenance cycle at the start of each season, so you can get a pulse on what you need for the upcoming months. Now, that said, if you live in Southern California or an area that you don't have a lot of seasonal weather changes, you could probably get away with doing this maybe once or twice a year. I live on the East Coast, so we have very distinct seasons. I like to check in on my wardrobe every, winter, spring, summer, and fall just to make sure that I have what I need in place. But it really depends partly on where you live, whether you have a good base capsule wardrobe that you don't change out often, or if you like to keep things more seasonally relevant.
Love it. Okay, you just hit one of the buzzwords, capsule wardrobe. Let's
Yeah.
dive into those. I mean, I
Yeah.
love a good capsule. I feel like my whole life has kind of transitioned that way, but probably very slowly. So they are very popular. They also come with some rules or myths. What are some of the common misconceptions about a capsule wardrobe that you wish people would let go of, especially as we're coming into this new year? What can we leave behind in 2024?
I love the concept of having a capsule wardrobe, but to me, the only rule that I put on it is that it means your pieces are interchangeable and are easy to mix and match to create lots of different outfits. What I don't subscribe to are all of the hard and fast rules of you can only have 33 pieces. You need to choose between 5 colors to focus it on. You've got to make sure that you're really just focusing on those timeless staple pieces, because I think that when we put a lot of those limitations on it, it can feel freeing in the beginning to have less and to streamline it in that way. But often what I see happen is that women become really bored with that, or they feel like their style isn't really accurately represented in that. Sometimes people have a more dramatic sense of style or something that's more alluring or creative. And when you're putting those restrictions that you can only have really basic, simple, neutral colored pieces, it can almost feel limiting in the other sense that you're not fully expressing who you are in the way that you show up and get dressed. So I like to let go of all of those rules and empower my clients to lean into their personal preferences as much as possible, still keeping in mind that things, you want to keep a color harmony, generally speaking. And you do want to think about making sure that your tops do coordinate with the bottoms that you have and so forth. So it is sort of an art and science when you're designing it and putting everything together. You want to think of it holistically, almost like an art gallery. So you want to make sure that all of the individual pieces work well together, but you can still have a lot of excitement within each piece itself, if that
Hmm.
works for you.
Yeah, I like that idea. I do feel like it is one of those things that I feel like it's a skill that I have honed over time. And I by no means feel like my closet is done or I am perfection. Like I'm perfect in this. Definitely not. I've got lots of room to grow. But like a beginning, cook, right? Or something like that, where I'm learning basic recipes at the beginning. And then I learn, oh, I can change this recipe and I can swap out that ingredient for this ingredient. It's going to give me a different flavor and I can totally let that go. I learned how to make that one. I've got a great base and now I can just start making my own recipes. I can make things up. So for me, that is what a capsule kind of starting like in the little base, maybe a little bit more and then going to it. But I love what really happened, I think, for me with the capsule was all of that mixing and matching. The idea that I think that's really at the heart of what a capsule wardrobe is, that everything in your closet, and maybe not everything, maybe you have a few pieces you love that don't go with everything. Again, all of it is 80%, 90%, right?
Right.
That it does go together so that you don't have, and if you have a room for the closet and you want to have all the stuff in your life, you're probably not listening to the show, but that's fine.
Yeah.
You can do that. But for me, streamlining it means that I have shades that all go together, right? I don't have like I don't know, I'm not even great at this. You're the color one. So you tell me the things we wouldn't have in our closet, right? I'm not going to have like I don't know what colors don't go together, bright orange and a, muted purple? I don't know. Do those go together? I don't think so. But like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to have these crazy different colors
You want it to
that
feel
don't
cohesive.
match. Yes. How do we do
And
that?
yeah, I mean, so when you're shopping, I mean, that's one of the things that you want to think about, right? So you don't want to be just grabbing impulse things. It's looking at something and saying, okay, does this work with at least three other pieces in my
Mm.
wardrobe? Do I have a need to wear it right now? Or what occasions could I realistically wear this for? And just putting some of those questions and benchmarks in place to be more discerning when you're shopping is going to be really helpful. But yeah, it's so nice when you do know your best colors and you can make sure that your closet really does feel cohesive and thought through. So you're not just buying random things that don't work well together, but it is fun to have some little star pieces that feel more elevated or maybe more stylish, that you can just bring out for some of those special events. But overall, you just don't want it to be hodgepodge, right? So it does take that intentionality and the planning, but not to be so restrictive that you can't celebrate your style or dress the way that you really want to. So again, like the 80-20 rule, you want to make sure that the things that you have are working for your real needs and coordinating well together, but without feeling so limited that you can't have fun when you're doing it.
Yeah. Let's keep it fun, right? Life is too short for it to be drab and boring. And I think that's one of the things that really concerns people when they're thinking, okay, you're telling me to streamline my life, make it easy, have less stuff, but isn't that going to be restricting? So, how do you help women not feel bored in their closets when they are letting go and having less stuff?
Yeah, it's all about kind of playing dress up in your closet. And I think if you can even just carve out an hour over the weekend to take out some of the pieces that you really love and challenge yourself, say, what else could I wear them with? Because one thing that I see often with women in my community is they tend to default to the same outfits over and over and over. And so you just got to be intentional to break that up sometimes and to be willing to experiment and try different combinations. So if you have a top that you love, but you only ever wear it with the exact same pants and the exact same shoes, you're probably going to be more likely to get bored. So just take an afternoon and play dress up in your closet. Try different things on together and just be willing to see what might surprise you and what might work really well. And if it doesn't, no harm done. Just have some fun when you're getting dressed. I keep saying that, but it is really important to be open to trying things and experimenting a little bit. And I also encourage them to lean into what's already working. So if they do have those set outfit formulas that they know they feel really good in, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Bring more things in like that. So look for
Mm.
the pieces that you tend to gravitate toward, because I probably, with the exception of your audience, we know most people actually wear about 20% of what's in their closets. I would say, because your community is so thoughtful, right, and having less clutter, that's probably a higher number of what they're actually wearing. But do more of those things. So if you know that this certain style of pant or dress is really flattering for you, try to get more colors in those silhouettes, or find some pieces that are a similar shape, but maybe with some different accents to it, things like that. So embrace what's already working. Try new combinations in your existing wardrobe. And I am a huge fan of creating an outfit library so that you have some go-to outfits that you can quickly pull up and reference if you're not sure what to wear to an event. Again, if you do some planning and maybe save some of your favorite looks, just snap a picture on your phone before you run out of the house, put an album right on your phone, or you could upload an outfit library onto Pinterest, and that will give you some more ideas that you can always pull from and add to as well, just to keep things feeling fresh and exciting.
Yeah, that sounds super fun. And I love that idea of just like, yeah, if you try something on and it's horrendous, like that is fine. And it's not a big deal. No one else had to see it. Like it's all for you. So just experiment and see. You might be surprised. You put something on, you're like, oh, it's not so bad. Maybe if I just changed this or that, or I would like it. And it could be something you've never even thought of. Um, we traveled over the summer and I put together a travel capsule, right? I mean, we did Europe for 27 days. And so we went from London, where it was chilly and cold, and we actually ended up having to buy my daughter a new jacket because it was colder than we thought. And then we ended up in Ljubljana, where it was super hot and it was like 90 degrees. So we went from 50 to 90, and I had one capsule that had to do a lot of heavy lifting, right? So there was tons of layering. And I remember trying on the different clothes in different ways. And I think it was like I had tights and a dress, and then I had like a chambray shirt or a linen long sleeve shirt and a sweater. And I was putting them on in different ways. And my daughter walked in and she goes, "What are you wearing?" And I was like, "Oh, I know. This way doesn't work. But watch, when I take the sweater off and I put the other, and I just swap the way the layers are. See, doesn't that work?" She's like, "Okay, yeah, that's fine." And I was just like, "See, it's okay. Like sometimes they're not gonna go." I was like, "Oh, I know. This one's real bad." And she was just like, "What do you have on? Like, you're not wearing that, are you?" She's getting to the age where she's starting to get embarrassed by me, but it's okay. She's not there yet.
Kids are always so honest about what works and what doesn't work. With all of my clients, it's amazing.
It's
You can, if
perfect,
you have a
right?
child in your home, if you want an honest opinion, that is who you should ask.
Absolutely. And it will be immediate. So it's all good.
Yes.
And don't take it, yeah, don't take it personally. Don't get upset by it. Just be like, "What do you think of this?" And if they say no, just know it's coming from a place of love.
Yes, and it probably just needs a little adjusting.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So we were talking a little bit about color there, and I'm very curious because before we chatted with this, we were talking about colors. I've had my colors done, and you were saying you don't use the seasonal color system. So how do you help people figure out what colors work best for them? I'm really curious.
So, my background is in seasonal color analysis, and I think there's so much good about that. And I think that the intentions are amazing behind it, and it makes sense to a degree. But where I see some struggle is that every seasonal color analysis system is different. So,
Mm.
you mentioned what season you're in, but to me, that doesn't really mean anything because I'm not familiar with the specific system that you used. So, it's a little bit arbitrary in that sense. And what I love to do, again, because I'm not about putting clients into a little box, I love expanding your possibilities. I love to incorporate your personal colors, of course, because you want your colors to bring out your best. So they need to work with your skin tone, your hair color, your eye color, all of those things. But I also like to put a little spin on it and make sure that we're infusing your personality and your color preferences as well. So, for example, you might look really beautiful in soft summery tones, but if you love bold, vibrant colors, I'm going to want to meet in the middle somewhere on that and give you colors that light you up and that you love to wear, because it's all about, again, feeling that joy when you go to get dressed. And if I hand you a color palette that maybe looks beautiful on a surface level, but doesn't really speak to your personal tastes and preferences, you're going to be less excited to wear those colors and really incorporate them fully into your wardrobe. So it's kind of a three-faceted approach where I do look at your personal coloring, but then I also like to infuse the personality and your personal preferences into that mix as well. So every palette that I design is fully custom. I pick every color by hand and then, I deliver them to my clients. And if they have any qualms about any of the colors, we do make any adjustments as needed so that it's absolutely perfect for each person. And no two
I love
palettes are
it.
the same.
That's fantastic. Well, I will say the biggest issue I have with my color palette is that the clothes that come in my right colors aren't styles that I like. Does that make sense? I want clothes that have a little bit of so the shirt I'm wearing now, I love. Fitted, it has a square neck, right? So it has a little bit of interest to it. It's not it's somewhat feminine, but it's not a super feminine, flowy, flowery cut, right? It's got a little bit of texture because it's ribbed, it's got lines. So there's always, I want a little bit of edge to my pieces, if that makes sense, just a little bit of interest. And I feel like the summer color palette that might be the best for my skin, it might absolutely be my best color. The clothes themselves don't feel edgy enough for me. They're very flowy, they're very feminine, they're very, like, not me.
Yeah.
Or and maybe I look fine in them. That's great, but I don't feel my best in them. And so, I don't know. Yeah, that's where I struggle, I think, the most with my color palette. It's not that I don't like the colors, it's that the clothes that I like don't come in the colors I'm supposed to wear. So, how the heck do you help someone in that
Yeah.
situation figure out what to wear?
There's a couple things that I would recommend for you, and hopefully this applies to anyone listening who's maybe had their colors done and feeling the same way. A couple of things. First, I encourage you highly to, instead of browsing when you're shopping online, is to hunt. And what I mean by that is being as specific as possible when you're searching for pieces online. So if you know that there's a certain color piece that you want to build into your wardrobe and there's a certain style that you would love to find in your perfect, dream wardrobe, type it in, and you might be surprised to find some new brands or stores that might carry more edgy pieces in those softer colors. You just don't know until you really get specific and search for it. So that's one thing, is to hunt specifically for the pieces that you want. Another thing is, if you have those certain brands and styles that you love and you want to follow them, I would just check back every season to see what they're putting out, because what's tough a little bit about fashion is that sometimes your colors are going to be more trending in some seasons than others. And so you might find, come springtime, maybe there's a lot more variety in the colors that look best on you. So that's when you really want to stock up. And not to say that you need to go crazy and buy all of the things, but that's probably when you're going to want to buy some more of those basics or staple pieces that you've been wanting to fill in the best styles for you. So it's kind of keeping a pulse on what's available in your colors, and then being open to trying some new stores and getting specific in what you're searching for. Those are a couple things that might work well for you. So if you, for example, if you have some stores that have those edgier pieces, just check in every season against your shopping list and see what they might be offering. It is a slow process. So sometimes you're going to have seasons that you can get all the things that you need, and other times you're going to have to be a little bit more patient in waiting to find the right thing.
Mm. No, that's great. That's a really good piece of advice with the hunt versus,
Browse.
just
Yeah.
browsing, just looking, because I do feel like I fall into that browse mode because I'm not quite sure what I want, or I'm not quite sure what brand I should look for. So, yeah, you go on Pinterest and you say summer capsule, or, summer colors or whatever you type in, and you start to see, or like even if you just put in the color, and then you start to see things that maybe aren't 100%, but I love the idea of that hunting, like being very specific, which again, so interesting that I can do this in so many other areas of my life, but fashion is just not the one. I don't know. I think I'm finally developing my interest for it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you're so used to applying things in one certain way that it's just that light bulb of, oh, yeah, this would work for this other area of my life as well. And it's just maybe something that's not second nature for you yet, but you could absolutely
Mm-hmm.
do it. And
Yeah.
one example might be maybe if you have lavender in your palette, maybe you just, not even with the intention of shopping, but maybe just to get some styling ideas, just go on Pinterest or Google and type in, edgy lavender outfit or structured lavender blazer or something like
Mm.
that and just see what comes up. You might be shocked at what you find. Maybe it's not for sale this particular season, but it could give you hope and some direction of what to look for if you're not exactly sure what you need right now.
That's a good tip. And I also like the advice of stocking up, right? Thinking about the fact that fashion changes quickly, the things might not be available forever. So if you find it, go ahead. And if you're concerned about, the advice I've been living in my life is cry once, buy once, buy once, cry once. Like, it's okay sometimes if you're getting the thing that you actually want, like really, really want. And you're not just saying like, okay. Like I had a pair of jeans that I got from Paige recently, and I had gotten them I did Armoire over the summer. And so I'd rented these jeans and I loved them and I got a ton of compliments on them and I should have bought them from the box, but they weren't 100% perfect in the box because they were the standard length and or they were the short length and I wanted the standard length or vice versa, whatever it is. I wanted them longer. I wanted the 34-inch inseam and I got them in 30. So they were just a little short. So I wasn't really on board with buying them. And then I waited and waited and waited and they went on sale for, Black Friday. And they had the size and the length and the color and everything. And I bought them and I love them and I have worn them lots. And it's funny because my husband doesn't love them, but I love them and it doesn't matter. He's coming around, right? It's one of those things where they're a wide length, they're the new style, right? And I think,
My husband's the same way. He prefers the
just
more
not
fitted
for
looks,
sure.
which, it's
That's why
nice to
you have
have
a fitted top.
variety. Yeah, exactly.
I'm not all frumpy, but it is
But
one
I'm
of those
glad
things
that
where,
you held
yeah,
out for the right thing and you were able to scoop it up on sale, which makes it
yeah,
a total win-win.
which is great because they're super expensive.
Mhm.
Anyway, right? Those are
But
not
it's all about having less
inexpensive
but
jeans.
better.
But
Yeah.
exactly, I could cry just a little bit. I cried a little bit less because they were on sale. I cried a little bit, but I will wear those jeans and I love them. And like the fact that I'm like waxing poetic about them, like clearly I wanted those. So I think that's when people think like, how do I know I really want something? It's like when you tell your friend about it and you're like, oh my God, you're never going to, like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Look at what I got him. That's when you know you love it. So we can do that. We can do it. I'm here with you. If you're listening to this and you're like, I'm not sure, I'm on this journey with you. Like we can do
Yeah.
it.
We all are. It's a journey and it's a process and it's not something that is going to happen overnight, but if you get really committed to the process and to taking the time to do the investigation and the planning like we've been talking about, you will get there and you will feel amazing about your closet and then it's just maintenance cycle with everything like you talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Well, I want to, because I have you here and I'm very excited. I want to talk through, I mean, you have years of experience. You've been doing this for a very long time. What is one piece of advice you'd give to women that want to feel more confident in their style every day? Because we've talked about those bigger pieces when you have those occasions, but someone like me, I'm working from home, or the mom that's, the stay-at-home mom, or the, work from home mom, or the mom that's dropping their kids off at school and they're just like, okay, I'm going to work every day, but I just, I put on my work wardrobe and this is it. So how do we feel more excited about our style every day?
I think there's two things that are really important here. The first one is to get in touch with what it is that you love. I think so often we just default to what's trending, what everyone else is wearing, and that feels quick and easy, and we don't have to put a lot of thought into that. But at the end of the day, are you really feeling like yourself when you get dressed? A lot of times women end up building a wardrobe that feels great for someone else and doesn't feel great for them. So I think, again, it's really important to press pause and take some time to look at different styles and ask yourself, what do I love about this outfit? What's drawing me to that? Maybe it's the colors, maybe it's the silhouettes, maybe it's the vibe that it's putting out. start to get curious. Why are you wearing the same favorite pieces in your wardrobe over and over? What is it that you really like about them? How can you do more of that when you go to shop next time? So, again, just taking some time to really explore and get in touch with what lights you up, especially if you're in a new season of life. If you're a new mom,
Mm.
if your career has changed, if you went from working at a, corporate office job to working from home, sometimes we just lose sight of what is accurate for our current needs and life and preferences. And we kind of get comfortable buying the same things over and over and not taking the time to stop and ask ourselves why. So get curious and start looking into what really inspires you. Create a style mood board on Pinterest and save pieces that you're excited about. And I think you really will start to cultivate your own sense of style. And the other thing that I would love to impress upon anyone listening is that often as women, we get really hung up on our insecurities, especially when it comes to our physical features. And instead of
Mm.
putting so much attention on the things that you don't feel great about, choose just one area of your body to highlight when you get dressed. I promise you will find so much more joy when you go to put outfits together and more confidence when you leave the house, when you're focusing on celebrating what is great, even if it's your eye color, something about your hair. It doesn't, whatever that feature is that you do feel good about, if you put your attention on the positives, the other stuff will just start to fall away. I promise you. So if you can focus on the features that you do want to highlight when you get dressed, make sure you're calling attention to that with your accessories, the colors that you choose, all of those things. You're going to feel a million times better.
Yeah, and it will show on your face. It will show in how you show up into the world, and other people will notice it too. And you will get more compliments. Like, I know it's not all about getting the compliments, but gosh darn, those do feel good. So if somebody's like, wow, I love that color on you, or what did you do something different? Sometimes it's just how you're showing up. And when you can feel good about highlighting the thing you love, I love how you said that because yeah, we can be our own worst critics for sure. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I love
let's
encouraging women to
yeah.
talk to themselves like they would talk to their best friend or ask your
Yeah.
friend. If you're like, I'm feeling really crummy about, my body or however you're feeling, ask a friend. Say, what's one thing that you think I should highlight when I get dressed? Or, it's even better when you can put that mindset on for yourself and say, if you were looking at the mirror and you're talking to your best friend, what's that one thing that you would say to build her up? And again, not that it's all about looks, but when we're talking about getting dressed and feeling confident out in the world, those things do matter. And it does help you to feel so much better when you can focus on the good.
Absolutely does. And I will just say, as a mother of an 11-year-old, I am super aware and I try to be very careful in the language I use when I'm getting dressed. I never want, because I look at my mother and I'm like, she's beautiful. Like, if I would have heard my mother being like, oh, my thighs, oh, my butt doesn't look good in this, or oh, man, look, I've got these, like, ugh, right here, ugh, like, that's such a different perception. I think she's beautiful. My daughter thinks I'm beautiful, and I want to make sure that she knows she's beautiful. So I never want her to look critically at herself in the mirror. I know what's going to happen, but I want it to be as long as possible until she starts being like, and as soon as you start to see that modeled, it's easier to be negative. It's also easier to be positive. So I try to think about that too. Yes, I think about how I would talk to my best friend, but I also think about how do I want my daughter to talk to herself? And then I try to talk to myself that way, to be nice to myself, which is definitely a challenge. It's not easy. I'm not sitting here going, "Oh, it's so easy. Just be nice to yourself." But you definitely just, if you need a deeper reason, if you need a deeper purpose, then just be nice to yourself. And you have a daughter or a son, right? You want them to
Mhm.
talk themselves up too, right? Think about how you talk and you want them to talk about themselves, and then you try to do that and model it for yourself.
I love
Okay.
that so much. Yeah, you are the example. And,
Yeah.
even beyond what we just say, I think sometimes thinking about your wardrobe can feel a little bit superficial. But if you think about it, when you are stepping out in confidence, it allows you to focus out on the other people around you rather than being hung up on, oh, I don't feel great in this outfit. This is too tight. This feels too loose. I don't know if this is trendy. When you're all in your head about how you look and show up, you can't be fully present with the people that truly matter to you. And so it really it makes a difference in all of those aspects in the example that you're setting for your family and for the people that matter most to you.
Mm. Oh, Heather, truth bomb dropped. Love it. Yes. Oh my gosh. That's so true. It really is true. It does allow you then to focus on other people and not be so inward on yourself. So, oh, that is a great one. Okay, so you have something super special coming up. I want to make sure people know about that. So let's talk about where can people find you, where can they connect, and then what is that special thing you have coming up?
Yeah, it was so many places to connect. You already mentioned you can hang out with me every week on the podcast at Her Style Podcast. I would love to see you there. I do 2 episodes every week. So there's plenty of back episodes that you could catch up on if you've been enjoying this conversation. But even more importantly, I'm hosting a free 4-day wardrobe revamp boot camp next week from January 6th through the 9th. It's happening every night at 8 p.m. Eastern, but there's going to be recordings. So you can listen to those all week if you need to catch up if those times don't work for you. But I'm going to be walking through my full process to build a wardrobe you love. So if this is something that you're excited to take on in 2025, you will have everything that you need to be set up for success.
That's awesome. All right, I'm coming. I'm going to be there. Like, I'm so signing up. I'm going to be there. And as this comes out, now everyone also knows that you are going to be part of the summit that I'm hosting the week after. So it's perfect. You're going to join Heather's boot camp. And then the next week, you're going to come to the Chaos to Calm Summit. And Heather is one of the speakers there. That's also a free ticket. So there's no reason not to sign up to both. Let's make 2025 the year where you are boosting your confidence, you're feeling great, you're letting go of all the clutter and the things you don't need in your life. So we'll make sure we link to that in the show notes. So I'm super excited to have you as one of the speakers of my summit, and I can't wait to check out your boot camp. That's going to be super fun.
I'm so honored. And both of those are all about shopping more strategically and really streamlining everything, making this process simple and enjoyable. So you can head to herstylellc.com/Deanna for the boot camp. And then I'll be so excited to hang out at the summit the following week too. We'll get your
Yeah,
wardrobe
awesome.
in the most amazing shape. You're going to feel so stylish this year ahead.
I love it. It's going to be, I am so excited for this next year. It's going to be a whirlwind. There's going to be lots of ups and downs, but I'm going to focus on the positive things in my life and the things that I can lean into. So I am really excited for 2025. All right. So before I let you go, though, my favorite way to end every episode is with 3 rapid fire questions. And the first one is, what does clutter-free mean to you?
I think it's all about eliminating overwhelm, whether it is having clean space on your kitchen counter or a closet that's only made up of clothes that you love and feel good in. It's about having a sense of peace and ease in your everyday life. That's what it means for me.
So good. Number 2, what's making you happy right now or in this season of your life?
My family brings me so much joy. I was telling you before we started recording, my son is 6 years old and it's my most favorite age. I feel like every year gets better and better, but I'm just really enjoying seeing his little personality develop, and he's in school full time. So just the amount of what he's learning and how quickly he's growing is just amazing. I'm trying to cherish every moment.
I love it. I felt that same way with our daughter. Like every year, I was like, oh, this is the best year. Oh, this is the best year. Oh, this is the best year. She's 11. I'm sure there's going to be one year I'm like, this is not the best year, but it'll
Yeah.
continue. Like there will be those continued years. But yeah, cherish every moment. I love that so much. And then finally, what is a goal you have for yourself this year?
My biggest goal this year is to build some more margin into my days and weeks and to prioritize rest. I every year I say, okay, this is the year I'm going to really slow down, and so I can just savor moments and have extra time to, grab coffee with a friend or do the volunteer thing or whatever it is. And it's like I love having a full life, so I have to be really intentional to keep space for rest and rejuvenation. So
Yeah,
if you
but
can help me
just
streamline my life, that would be
yeah.
declutter my
Well,
life.
you're going to be at the
I'm in
summit,
the right
so
place.
that's what it's
Yep.
all
I can't
about.
wait for all the speakers. It's going to be so good.
Well, and I think what you said there was really important. You didn't just say, I want to have more rest. You said, I'm building margin into my day. So it's like you're planning. You're doing exactly like you said for your closet, for your life. You're planning the time to just set it aside and have it available to you to rest. And I think that is super important and step number 1. So just like you gave us some amazing steps to start in our closets, I think you are doing the same thing in your life. I love it, Heather.
Thank you. Yep. It's all
Yeah.
about making the time and the priority for it.
Yeah, true. All right. Well, this has been wonderful. Have a great rest of your day and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Cheers. All right. Thank you so much for joining me for this conversation. I love when I get a chance to talk with amazing women like Heather about all sorts of different topics and areas where I could use a little help. It's really nice to be able to have these conversations. And so I hope you're enjoying them too. I want to wish you a very happy new year. I hope that you can go into this next year with confidence, letting go of the things we don't need and working on those areas that we want in order to build ourselves up and build up our own confidence. And, clothing isn't superficial. It's something that it makes us feel a different way. It makes us feel a certain way, right? We talk about putting on costumes. I don't want to wear a costume. I want to wear what makes me feel like me and makes me feel beautiful. It makes me feel confident and empowered. And so I hope if you are wanting to do that too, that you'll join she and I both in her free boot camp that she's got coming up next week, starting on January 6th. So click the link in the show notes and join us over there. It's going to be a lot of fun. But I would really love to know what stuck out for you the most in this episode. So if you want, go ahead and comment on this post on Instagram or send me a DM. I'm at Wannabe Clutter Free on the social channels, or come over to the Wannabe Minimalist family group on Facebook and share with that community. There will be a discussion thread for this episode, and we would love to chat with you in the comments. You can also leave a review on Apple Podcasts, a comment on this episode on Spotify, or a comment on YouTube. And remember, if you know someone who could use a little help with their style or you want a friend with you on that challenge, well, then invite them along. It's one of the best ways to get an accountability partner and just have a little bit more fun along the way. And don't forget, Heather is one of our speakers at the Chaos to Calm Summit coming up January 13th through the 17th. It's a free ticket, so grab that as well, chaostocalmsummit.com, or you can click the link in the show notes. And a special thank you again, of course, to Heather for joining us and sharing all of her wonderful advice and tips, and for being a speaker at that summit. Remember, you can get more detailed show notes with all the links for Heather and everything we talked about in this episode by going to wannabeclutterfree.com/238. Again, that's wannabeclutterfree.com/238 to find out more about Heather. And as always, thank you so much to you for joining me and making me part of your weekly routine. With that, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you back here next week for a solo show. Until next time, take care, keep things simple. Let's work on bringing our own energy into the new year. And remember, I believe in you. I know you can do anything you set your mind to. I'm Deanna Yates, and you've been listening to Wannabe Clutter Free. I'll see you next week. Cheers.